listening to Who's Tom and Dick, a weekly podcast with your hosts, Martin Weavers, fighting stage 4 lung cancer, and Patrick Mortimer, living with heart disease. Why not grab yourself a cup of coffee, sit back, and enjoy the chatter as we discuss and share information, talking about tough subjects, and offering help, support, and motivation with a positive middle attitude.
Good morning, Martin. How are you on this fine Friday morning?
I am fine, Patrick. It's another lovely day, and it's just lovely to be out in the sun, isn't it?
You don't look so pale today.
I don't know, although I suddenly have gone a little bit pale, because it's all dependent on the light and where we're sitting, doesn't it? So, so today we've got a subject that we've never spoken about. We're going to talk about eating disorders, anorexia, bulimia, and binge eating as well comes into it as well. And we're very lucky to be joined by a young lady who's suffered with this for most of her life. And would you please welcome Jessica Baker? Hello, Jessica.
Hello, Jessica, and welcome.
Thank you.
So, Jessica, we need to get the full story of where this all began so you can talk to our listeners and let them know. So, over to you.
Okay. Well, I'm in my mid-50s now, and my eating disorder decided to become my best friend and my worst enemy when I was 9 years old. Basically, I'd watched my mum do all these crazy diets, and you know, you look up to your parents, don't you? And I thought I could do that, and I did it, and I discovered that it was something I was really very good at. When you come from a family where you're told you're never going to amount to anything or be good at anything, I just clung to it, basically, and I become extremely good at doing it, and it made me different to everybody else, all my friends, my siblings, my cousins. None of them had the kind of control that I had, and it made me feel special.
Did you tell anybody about this at the time?
No, absolutely not. It wasn't that kind of household. You know, if you brought too much emphasis on what you were doing, and if it was self-destructive, and it was private, it was something, it was a secret that I had all to myself. So it made it more special.
And you felt in control then, I suppose, having that, didn't you?
Absolutely, yeah. It's not an easy thing to do, to turn down chocolate and cake and all the nice things, especially when you're a kid.
Oh, I don't find that easy. Donuts, do I, Patrick?
Not really, no. Did you know what you were going through at 9 years old, though?
No, I knew that the high it gave me was fantastic. It was better than eating sweets. Because, you know, at 9, 10 years old, that's all you really want to do is eat sweets and run around and everything. Because it gives you that feeling of euphoria. But this was even better than sweets.
So did you used to weigh yourself, and how much did you weigh, or don't you know?
I don't know how much I weighed at 9 years old, because eventually my mum got so frustrated with her weight that she just got rid of the scales. And it wasn't like it is now. Back in the 70s, there was no places to go where you could weigh yourself unless you went to the clinic or, the doctors. And not every household had a set of scales in the bathroom like everybody seems to have now.
So at 9 years old, was there a time when you actually got out of it and, was you 11 or something like that, and then you put a little bit more weight on, or?
Yeah, I mean, I've always dipped in and out. I have 2 sets of wardrobes, and it really annoys my husband because half of my life I'm fat, half of my life I'm thin, and that's what it was like as a kid. So you have the puppy fat, and then you get teased at school, then you think, well, I'm going to do something about it, even though the hunger inside is gnawing away and driving you to distraction. You can't concentrate. Again, it's something that makes you different, because I was never encouraged at school to about education and exams, and that wasn't the kind of household I was from. So again, this was just my saviour. This made me special.
And so you've yo-yoed with your weight all your life up until the present day.
I still yo-yo now. I still go from anorexia to bulimia. For me, it's always been a two-sided coin. Predominantly, I'm anorexic. I restrict my intake of food. I'm very particular about what I eat. Again, it just gives me that feeling of, for want of a better word, superiority. So it makes me feel really good that I can do something that a lot of people can't. And it's not rocket science. It's just like you exercise a bit more and I have an active job and you just, you restrict and the feeling is incredible.
So 9 years old, what were you actually doing?
Not eating,
Right.
avoiding everything. I said I watched my mum. My mum went on crazy diets. The toast diet was a fabulous one, except my mum's idea of a diet was eating a whole loaf. Yeah, I mean, this was the 70s. There was, crazy stuff around in the 70s. I remember watching TV with, all the diets and, then the 80s, you had all the exercise, Thin Lizzy and was it Thin Lizzy? The Green Goddess and all of those.
Lizzie Webb.
That's it.
Mm.
So, and that's basically just what I did. I just restricted. We were from the kind of household where if you didn't eat your dinner, you went without. So I went without because I didn't like vegetables like most kids.
Mm.
So I just went without, went hungry.
Yeah.
But do you have a special diet to this day?
I've mucked up my body, to be honest. So I can't eat carbohydrates because my stomach just kicks off. So I can't really eat potatoes, pastry, bread, all the nice things in life. So I stick predominantly to protein.
But you must let your diet slip from time to time.
I do, but I pay the price. Boy, do I pay the price. My stomach kicks off and it makes me really ill. So unsociable to be around, shall we say.
Mm.
Did you seek help for any of this?
Oh, no. If you seek help, they take the very thing away that makes you feel special.
In what way?
Well, if you've got a really nice car, you don't really share it. This made me different. This made me stand out from, my sister and my cousins. I mean, they were all pretty and talented and intelligent. And I'm not saying that I wasn't, because in hindsight, I probably could have done rather well academically because I'm intelligent. But I didn't want help.
Did they ever say anything to you?
Oh, yeah. But it was always sarcastic comments and I just put it down to being jealous.
Mm. So how do you feel when you look at photographs of yourself?
Hate it.
Really?
Yep.
In what way?
I hate looking at my features. I now have fillers in my face because when I lose weight, I go really, really gaunt. And even though the fillers are supposed to make you look healthy, even though it makes me look healthy and I choose to put fillers in my face, I still think I look fat. And that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to fill out your face.
Well, we can reassure our listeners that looking at you today, you do not look fat.
So do you feel hungry with this illness?
Oh, yeah.
So when you feel hungry, how do you satisfy that urge?
Eggs, chicken. Yep, I can eat 6 eggs a night.
But what happened when you were 9 and 10? When you got the urge for hunger, what did you do?
Ignored it. Wrote it out because there wasn't anything, I mean, I'm one of 7. So it was a, reasonably big family and everything. And no, we didn't have unlimited supplies of food. We had what my dad grew and, very limited amount of protein. And if we didn't like it, then you went hungry. So I went hungry.
I was looking up to all the symptoms that you have when you have all these eating disorders. And perhaps if I mention a few, then you could talk us, through them or just mention yes or no. Have you ever made yourself sick?
No, because I like my teeth.
Exercising too much?
Absolutely. I can walk up to 16 miles a day quite happily.
Mm. Do you ever feel cold?
All the time.
That's one of the symptoms. Feeling faint?
Yes, and black spots in front of my eyes.
And trouble with digestion?
Yes, 100%. Problem with that is because I've restricted for such a long time and I ate so little, then my body, I would have to use a massive amount of laxatives in order to make me poop. And that's made my bowel lazy. So now I have to use a massive amount of laxatives to actually poop.
Wow, it's got a real vicious circle to this, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I poop once a week with a lot of laxatives. And if I don't take the laxatives, I don't poop.
Mm. So have you suffered from bloatation?
From what?
When you're bloated?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have a hot water bottle for the bloatedness 24/7 really on my stomach.
Yeah.
Takes away the pain, it takes away the grumbling, the noise.
Constipation?
Yep.
Yeah.
week, 2 weeks. If I don't take laxatives, it takes,
And then the opposite, diarrhea.
yep, because of the laxatives.
And then obviously being a lady, a lack of periods.
When I was younger, but now I've, I got sterilised quite young, and then I hit the menopause young. So, but no, my periods were awful.
Mm. That's all the symptoms I looked up there. So,
What was the main driver behind all of this commencing? Was it just what you were seeing in your mum, or did you want to get the perfect body, or did you, I don't know, what did you think the driver was that made you this
Um,
way?
for me, it was doing something that nobody else in my family could do, but they didn't have the courage.
no.
They didn't have the stamina. They didn't have the control. If you go to places like Africa in the tribes, you have anorexia there. So it's nothing to do with social media. It's nothing. I don't follow anybody. I don't do the Thinspiration websites. I don't do any of that. So I've got no role models whatsoever. I do look at girls and think, wow, you're really skinny, and I want to be as skinny as you, even though in the past I've been skinnier than them. But it's it's just something that my sister and my cousins couldn't do. So it made me special.
So, if you know you have a problem and you knew anybody else who had a problem, what would you actually say to them? Would you give them any advice, or would
I
you?
would say do what I didn't do and seek help when you're younger, because I'm now mid-50s, and you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I don't want to be talked out of this. I've had some therapy sessions, and the therapist just held up their hands and went, I can't help you because you don't want it to end.
So, would you recommend going to a GP?
It's different nowadays.
Because they would then
Yeah.
put you onto a counsellor.
There's so much help nowadays. So if you were facing it now, then definitely, because it's going to kill you. And it's horrible because I love food. I'm a real foodie. I've been to some fantastic restaurants. Yeah, it's really irritating that I can't relax and enjoy food without analysing what I've eaten and being angry and then restricting for the next week.
You tell us before we come on that you used to have a job in or as a cook.
Yeah.
How did you cope with that?
It's funny because when I was at work, the head chef used to say to me, you have to taste the food. And I was like, no, I've cooked it correctly. I don't have to taste it. And even now, I mean, I'm not a cook anymore, but I can go all day. I mean, I don't eat, I eat once a day. So I eat in the evening. I've got a very active job now. So I can go for 24 hours without food. And then I only eat in the evening because I'm made to eat. But I used to fast, and I could fast for 10, 12 days and just survive on water.
Wow. So, do you think you actually have a problem?
Oh, yeah. I got a big problem. It's no good denying it. My husband knows I've got a problem. My friends know I've got a problem. I'd be a liar if I said that I didn't have a problem. Can I seek help for it? I don't want help, because every time I've sought help, I just run rings around the therapists, and maybe I haven't met the right one. I just continue doing what I'm doing. I mean, it's a form of self-harm.
So what's a typical day of eating look like for you?
Nothing until I get home. So I said I have a very active job, so I'm on my feet. It's a physical job. I can, it's about 10 hours a day, 5, sometimes 6 days a week. So I burn lots of calories, and I won't eat until I get home. And then typically it's 6 eggs, bit of salt, bit of pepper, and maybe a little bit of meat in there, and that's it.
What do you actually think? Because you said about your husband knows about this. What do you actually think he thinks of it all?
Oh, I think he's devastated by it. And I think he didn't really take it on board when we first met, what we were getting into. I don't think it impacts on our life as a couple. I do see the frustration and the anger and the worry in his face, definitely. My husband has seen me at 6 stone when I was collapsing. I knew that I was in a really bad place physically. So the day when I went to the bank on my bike, so I'd been to work, I'd done my 16-mile walk, went to the bank, queued up for ages, and then I got really dizzy. So I got back on my bike, as you do, all these cars honking at me. And I remember ending up in the opposite direction to where I was supposed to be, went into a bar that I knew was a safe bar, went to the toilet and passed out. And I woke up to somebody hammering on the door about half an hour later. And then I was in that bar for the next 2 hours, I think. And they wanted to call an ambulance for me, and I begged them not to. And I kept passing in and out of consciousness and everything. And eventually, I think I got a taxi home, and my husband met me, and then I collapsed again.
What thoughts do you have when you're thinking about food?
My thoughts are, I said to you, I'm a real foodie, so I love really good food, and I'm a food snob. So my idea of fantastic food is snails and garlic butter. I like exotic foods. I like pâté de foie gras. I watch food programs. I've got food books. I think about food. I love food, basically, but I know that if I start to eat out of my comfort zone, then I will put on weight, which I don't want to do, because when I'm heavier, I feel invisible and I feel fat and stupid and dirty.
So you torture yourself by watching these MasterChef programs and things like that, do you?
Yeah, it's food porn, basically.
So when you were at your lowest weights, and because obviously you said you've yo-yoed, so you've been heavier then lighter. When you are lighter, do you actually wear clothes that mask it all so people don't notice and say, "Oh, you look skinny"?
No, not at all. I don't. Some people I know, when they're really, really skinny, they wear lots and lots of layers to hide the fact that they're so thin. I wouldn't say I wear OTT clothes, but I dress appropriately. So, if I'm at my thinnest, I was 6 stone, and I did hide my body then because people would say stuff, and I was wearing children's clothes. I'm now 8.5 stone. I can still get into children's clothes, but now I just try and dress a bit more,
Adult.
yeah, a bit more adult. But I don't wear baggy clothes to hide the fact, because I'm not ashamed. I have an eating disorder. Half my life I will be fat, which is a flip side of anorexia. So when I lose control, that's when it flips and I put on loads of weight.
Because I didn't know an eating disorder was the binge eating as well. I can see it's anorexia, bulimia, and everything else, but I didn't actually realise it was overeating as well.
Yeah, that's an eating. There's several eating disorders.
Mm.
Yeah, that's one of them. I mean, some people say, what's the difference between anorexia and body dysmorphia? Because they're both mental illnesses, obviously. I look at myself and I see a fat person, and I don't like having my photo done. I don't like looking at pictures of me. But on the flip side of that, I've started doing life modeling classes. So basically, people come and sketch me. I'm butt naked in front of strangers, and it's given me a lot of confidence with my body, in so much as I'm not doing it for people to say, "Oh my God, you're so skinny," or anything like that, because I don't need people's validation of what I do or what I don't do. I've done it to try to come to terms with the fact that, I've got bumpy bits, lumpy bits. I mean, I did a pose recently where I felt totally fat, and they said it was the best pose I'd ever done. So maybe in a strange way, the life modeling is helping me.
I hope so. So going back to your husband, if he was actually, if he said anything to you and he was concerned, would you listen?
I take it on board and I try to moderate my behaviour. But at the end of the day, unfortunately, I can't change who I am. I can't change the habits I've got. I've tried, and I've really, really tried. And when I do try really, really hard, I end up really fat and really unhappy. And dirty and stupid again.
So you're happiest when you're smaller?
Yeah,
Mm.
because I don't feel stupid.
Mm.
I don't lose the weight for people to look at me, but I get more respect when I'm thinner.
How do you cope with stress and anxiety related to food and body images then?
Wine.
High in calories.
Yeah, that's the strange thing. If I want to put on weight or I'm trying to maintain my weight, then I would drink wine because it does maintain and it does make me hungry. So if I'm trying to appease my husband, then I drink wine.
Is there anything you wish people would understand about what you're going through?
No, because for me, I don't mix in the anorexia, bulimia world, and people have got their own problems. So people are worried about putting food on the table, and I'm worried about not eating the food that's on the table. So I don't really speak to a lot of people about it because they just go, "Oh, for goodness sake, grow up." And I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm not looking for understanding. I just get on and do my own little thing, and the only person I'm harming is myself.
So does anybody ever say to you, "Oh my God, you look thin"?
Yeah.
Because people tend to say, "Oh, you're looking well" when people
Means you're
put weight
fat.
on. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. But, I've got some friends recently who said to me, "But you're tiny," but I don't feel it. I don't feel small. I'm a size 8, and that's not small to me.
So you're not happy with the way you are at the moment then?
No, absolutely not. No.
Really, that does surprise me. And surely with your job, you're going to need to have some energy. So, because
Yeah.
you'd have a lack of energy being so low in weight.
I don't though. The lower my weight, the more energy I have. And that might be adrenaline, it might be the endorphins, but I fly around when my weight is lower.
Which probably makes you lose more.
Yeah. On average, I burn about 2,500 calories a day.
Are there moments when you feel more, I don't know, at ease with food? What helps during those sort of times?
Yeah, I mean, my husband and I, we've started going out once a week for food, and I will pick anything I want off the menu, and I enjoy my food and I eat it all because mainly I've paid for it. We've paid for it, so I'm not going to leave any food. The next few days I will be really, really good. That's the only coping mechanism I have is if I eat something that's out of my comfort zone, then I will make sure I don't eat anything bad.
You seem to have it pretty much under control at the moment with yourself, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I am trying really hard to maintain the weight I've got and not drop because I do the injections. So I do the weight loss injections. I do it properly. I went to Bupa. The doctor could see that I wasn't overweight. I was 12 stone, I think. And she approved this. And I promised my husband I would do it properly, which I did do. And I said to my husband, if the doctor hasn't got a problem, then obviously, and they approved me for the weight loss injections privately, and I still take them. If I feel that my weight is creeping up, I have an injection once a week, which I buy legally, and it stops me going into panic mode. It stops me starving.
Do they give you any after symptoms or anything like that? You know, what it does to your body?
Yeah, not for me, because I've had so many side effects from the anorexia for years and years and years. I'm used to being lightheaded and feeling sick, having a headache. But some of the side effects on the injections, because originally they were for diabetics. I'm not diabetic, but the side effect of these injections obviously is weight loss. So for me, that's brilliant. So I went from around about 12 stone down to 8 stone 4, and I'm now 8 stone 8.
And how long did that take?
I started in the April and it was by Christmas, so 8 months.
Mm.
But I did it slowly. But do I have hanging skin? Yep. Do I have wrinkles? Yep. But I had those before with the anorexia, with the extreme weight loss and then the extreme weight gain and then the weight loss. So Do I have the perfect body? No.
I think in my life I've yo-yoed. I've been heavier and skinnier, and I feel heavier at the moment myself. But because of what I'm going through,
But everybody has two sets of clothes, don't they? You have your fat clothes and your thin clothes, and you work so hard to pay for those clothes that you don't get rid of those. But you always hope you're going to shrink into your favourite pair of jeans again and not grow into your fat pair of jeans.
well, I've known Patrick since 1993, but you've always stayed about the same, haven't you, Patrick?
I think so, yeah. I've fluctuated between sort of 10 and 11 stone. I did get over 11 stone this year, so I started to walk more, and I'm back to where I was. But I've always been around about 10.5 stone.
See, so why is that no different to what I do then?
What's that?
Well, you said you go between 10 and 11 stone, and your weight crept up, so you increased your exercise level and probably decreased your calorie intake.
I've been a bit naughty with some of the foods I've been eating.
But you are very careful. I know. When you've been around mine, and I cut a bit of cheese, and you said, "Well, that's my supply for the week." That is.
Yeah, I've got to have it in moderation. I haven't got very good willpower when it comes to chocolate and that, really. I mean, I do like it. And I think I had a bit of a 3-month period where I liked too much of it, and that's what put the weight on. And I didn't notice it until I tried to put a pair of jeans on and realised that I could do with letting them out a bit. So, but then I was quite ill over Christmas, and that's one of the best ways to lose weight, because I lost about 6 pounds over Christmas. So yeah, I mean, I've never monitored my weight. I've just been between 10 and 11 stone.
But you are conscious of your weight.
Yeah, only because since my illness, I've been made to be aware of conscious of it, but not until I had my first heart attack. I never ever weighed myself.
But you were conscious because of the clothes you were wearing.
Yeah.
Subconsciously, because I've listened to your podcast before, you talk about the subconscious mind.
Yep.
Consciously, you were aware that you put on weight.
Well, I thought they made the clothes smaller these days. I said to Wendy that they don't make these 32.
Have you shrunk my clothes in the wash, Wendy?
So, what are your hopes for the future regarding your health and relationship with food?
I think I am very healthy, and I'm happy with what I'm doing. So I will, until it makes me ill, I will continue to do what I do. So I drink red wine every week. So, I have a very active job. My husband and I, we don't go out a lot. So my life basically is I get up, I go to work, I burn calories. And at the end of the week, I deserve a treat. Now, some people reach for chocolate. I reach for red wine.
Have you got a set of scales in the house, and do you use them regularly?
I have. Do I use them regularly? No. I did when I was younger, when I got to 6 stone in weight. I was on them several times a day. I wouldn't have any water during the night, so I would be on a water fast until I weighed myself the next day. But now I get on them when I'm feeling fat, and I get on them, and then I nip it in the bud.
You mentioned about water there, but water's surely got no calories in it, has it? Or is it just a mass of water in your body to make you heavier?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So it sounds to me that you've got an eating disorder, but your mind's strong enough to control it and keep it safe.
Yeah, I'll definitely. I mean, because when I was, younger and I hit my lowest weight, it scared me. Do I want to be? I mean, I wear the same bra that I wore when I was 6 stone, which I'm really quite pleased about. But do I want to get to 6 stone? Yes. But that was a few years ago. I'm worried that it will make me look older, and I'm worried about the implication on my bones. I've not had a bone density test done. Recently, I had a fall and I hurt my ribs. That was at Christmas, and my ribs still really hurt me quite badly. I was really lucky I didn't break anything. Yeah, I mean, I want to be skinnier than I am, but I'm realistic. I can't do the amount of work I do, the active job I do, and be 6 stone, because physically I won't be able to do it, and I have to work.
Well, this has all been very interesting and enlightening to me. I don't know if it has. I suppose it has for you, Pat, as well. Did you know about this?
I've only understood this subject from what I've seen on the TV, and that's not normally a very good way to understand a subject. But I remember in our day, Lena Zavaroni, who suffered from the eating disorder, and it finally took her life. And I think it was the same with Karen Carpenter.
Yeah.
So some people don't have the positive attitude that you seem to be able to put into your control of this illness.
Yeah, I mean, I used to self-harm. That's also part of my eating disorder. And then I hit upon an idea and it worked. So I used to cut my leg quite badly with a razor. And I don't do it. I haven't done that now for 15 years, I think. And I'm in control of that. So maybe there is hope.
Yeah.
Well, we hope so.
Yeah.
And we want to say thank you very much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks, Jessica. It's been really interesting listening to your story.
Thank you, Jessica. So,
very welcome.
Before we go, I must just mention.
Oh, no. What
are
you going to mention?
Martin today, well, not today, this week, has also had a fall. Would you care to tell everybody?
I'd tell everybody, yeah. I was out the other day. I was walking along a lovely flat tarmac road, and then I had to go into this office. And then so I saw the sign, and it said, if this office is closed, this is how much I was reading the sign. If this office is closed, please go across the road to St. George's. And as I was reading that, I didn't realise there was a speed bump in the road. So my footing going from one level suddenly went to another. But what happened was I stumbled 4 times, and I thought, I'm going to stay up here. I could say it in my mind. I'm going to stay up here. And then I thought, oh, no, I'm not. So I just rolled, and I looked around, I picked myself up, and I thought, phew, nobody's looking. But what I didn't realise was there were 3 ladies coming from an office to make sure I was okay.
Well, that must have been blooming hilarious. Anyway, this has actually been captured on CCTV, and that is your goal to get that footage so we can put it on the YouTube channel.
Yes, definitely.
That must be seen.
Then every listener can watch it then. Well, that's another topic ticked on the boxes, isn't it, Patrick, that we've looked at?
It is. That's quite a complex subject to try and fit in 30 minutes. So, we haven't covered everything.
No, and if anybody has any problems, they should seek advice straight away rather than just let it be a problem for themselves, I'd like to add. Yeah,
I think the difference here is I think Jessica has got a strong mind and a strong will, so she can control this.
Yeah.
A lot of people obviously haven't. So it's still a tricky subject.
It is. So let's thank everybody for listening.
Yep. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Yeah. We hope if any, any questions, you can always get on our website and ask questions and things like that. And then also, if you want to come on and talk about any problems that you may have, or not a problem, but anything you'd like to talk about, just get on our feedback on our Facebook page, or whatever, and you can come on and be a guest like Jessica did. So, we'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Take care.
Thanks a lot, everybody.
You've been listening to the Who's Tom and Dick podcast with your hosts, Martin Weavers and Patrick Mortimer. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the show on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite streaming platform. New episodes are available every Friday. Thanks for tuning in.